Of all the crazy lunacy I've seen and hilarious news stories that you might come across, this is a good one, you know. This is a very liberal idea, that's for sure. Primary school asks pupils to send Christmas cards to inmates at notorious jail. Not just a jail, but a notorious one. And there's nothing worse than a notorious jail, I'll have you know. Was it one of those naughty jails? You know what I'm saying? You know, big hands holding little hands type situation? I don't know. Let's have a look. The new primary school head sparked anger among parents after she asked pupils to send Christmas cards to prisoners, at a nearby jail. And it's a nearby jail as well, so they're going to know where they're at. Colette Murray wanted the festive messages sent to inmates at Addywell Prison, West Lothian, just 3 miles from Murrayfield Primary in Blackburn. The private jail is home to a notorious wife murderer, Nat Fraser, and has suffered numerous riots and cases of criminal damage since it opened in 2008. But once parents heard about the plan, it sparked such a massive backlash that Mrs. Murray was forced to back down. The plan was revealed by a local Blackburn community page on Friday. Okay, well, they posted the new Murrayfield primary head teacher told the kids that this year all the children will be sending letters and Christmas cards to prisoners as once upon a time she had a friend who was put in prison for something they didn't do. Right. Moral of her story is not everyone in prison has done something wrong. Personally, we think it's a disgusting idea, but wonder what you think. Would you let your child send a card to a random prisoner without knowing what crime they committed? That's right. Okay, so she's got a friend who went to jail who for something they didn't do. Whether they didn't do it or not, we don't really know, do we? Apparently there's a lot of people in jail who say they didn't do something and possibly did. But obviously there are, innocent people go to jail all the time. So, there is that. Or perhaps, just writing letters to people in jail is a nice thing to do because life is tough and people have bad days and you don't really know why people did the things that they did and how they ended up in jail or what sort of circumstances they are in. So, it doesn't, I think the whole point of going, well, I had a friend who went to prison for something they didn't do, that's besides the point, like whether they did it or not. Do they deserve to be treated like human beings? Well, yes, of course they do. This is what justice is all about. This is why we don't let mob rule decide stuff, because people will be set on fire all the time or, kicked to death and had dogs set on them. You can't leave it up to the public. It's ridiculous. So that's her reasoning for doing it is just a bit stupid. But would you let your child send a card to a random prisoner without knowing what crime they committed? Not a primary school kid, no. As kids are a bit older and, have a bit more knowledge and insight into the nuances of the world, then perhaps that's fine if they want to write some letters to people in jail for Christmas. That's absolutely fine. How do you think someone in jail is going to feel, though, when they get a Christmas card from a 5-year-old? Do you think it's going to make their day? Like some of the older teary-eyed ones. What about, a 21-year-old rapist? I mean, is it going to... I don't know. What about a 35-year-old drug baron? Gets their Christmas card from a 5-year-old. Hello, Merry Christmas, Mr. Murder Man. I know you probably might have not done it, but I want you to have a Merry Christmas in prison, whoever you are. I just don't. This is like, hey guys, we got something special for Christmas. Oh, what is it? You're getting Christmas cards from primary school kids. Is it? Great. And then you're going to have to feel like, I don't know, feel pressured into writing back to them. And then what? You're going to be pen friends with you're in jail and now you've got to be pen friends with a 5-year-old. That's as if it isn't punishment enough to have your civil liberties taken away from you. Now you've got to write back and forth to a fucking 5-year-old and listen to their drivel. And the same thing is, do you want your 5-year-old becoming pen pals with someone in jail? I don't know. The post was then flooded with comments from angry locals who expressed their views. Well, that's very surprising. I would never have thought angry locals to express any views. Aggie Tai commented, is that their real fucking name? I'm going to school on Monday to say I totally disagree. It was only today my daughter told me about it, and that I was shocked is an understatement. And there is a legitimate thing about schools constantly pushing stuff onto people's children that they shouldn't be. And this definitely comes under that umbrella of like, oi, can you just leave our kids alone with all your weird shit, please? We're paying taxes for them just to learn how to read and write and hopefully navigate life a bit better. We don't need them their brains to be intoxicated with weird ideas and to become pen pals with jailbirds. I don't know, whatever. Linda Canada said, I get the fact that not everyone in prison has actually committed the crime they're spending time for. However, I think she could think about asking the children to write letters or make cards for elderly in homes or maybe even the homeless. Yeah, why didn't you start there and then work your way up to writing to people in jail? Because it seems like people have got to be so fucking extra. Just like, I'm so liberal and open-minded that I'm going to get kids to write to people in jail. Oh, you won't like that, will you? Well, they're all humans. And also the reasoning going, I get the fact that not everyone in prison has actually committed the crime they're spending time for. So what, are we just writing out stuff to people just on the off chance that they didn't do the crime they committed? But if they did, fuck them. We're taking your Christmas card back. Fuck you. You're not allowed a Christmas card. You actually did the crime you're in jail for. Like, what is this? And it's like, obviously, children should not be sending letters to certain prisoners. Wrong on all levels. I think we all know the prisoners they're talking about there. So let's just shh. Let's not spoil it. Linda Brown posted, short answer, no. Not saying that no one should write to prisoners, just not appropriate for it to be kids. And without the consent of the adults. Jenna McGrath said, I'd be kicking up a storm if my children were at that school, so bloody inappropriate and wrong on so many levels. She had no right involving the children into that. I hope she's looked into. Okay, well, your kids don't go to that school, so shush. While some Facebook users did not agree with the proposed idea, some showed support for Miss Murray and her plan. Stephanie Tennant said, I honestly don't see why it has became a huge thing. I don't know if that's Stephanie's bad grammar or the Mirror. We cannot verify this. I highly doubt the kids will be sending names, addresses, etc. Yeah, but it is still a weird thing to go, hey kids, we're going to write letters to people in jail. It's just one of those weird ones, isn't it? When you go, there's many things you don't want to do when you're kids. It's just weird, isn't it? Going, Mummy, what did you do in school today, darling? I wrote a letter to a man who raped and killed his wife. Yeah, did you? Why did you do that? Kids need to learn, yes, some people make bad choices and that has consequences. A bad choice doesn't necessarily mean a bad person. Yes, there is exceptions to that also. Well, well done for understanding the nuances of life. People in prison can also still be waiting trial. So again, innocent until proven guilty. Alright, so it's just, why are you adding stipulations on top of this? You're going, well, if they haven't been proven guilty yet, they're allowed to get a Christmas card. But if they are, or they're probably innocent, it's like going, look, it's either write to people in jail or don't write to people in jail. You can't pick and choose who you're going to write to, except maybe paedophiles, obviously, because there's kids involved, and that's being way too open-minded. You know what I'm saying? That's like opening your mind out and your brain falls on the floor and you tread on it and poo yourself. Mary Findlay, I don't know if that is the way she would spell her name or not, said, personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with raising awareness during Prisoners Week. There's a Prisoners Week? And teaching, there's a week for everything. And teaching children about compassion and rehabilitation. All right, well, do you think they were explaining that? I don't know. Like, a very high percentage of prisoners experience traumatic experiences in their own childhood. Possibly one of them was being told you've got a right to a rapist in prison. I don't know. Without hope and compassion, where does the cycle of poverty, addiction, abuse, and crime end? Well, teach that in schools when they're old enough to understand it. But I think you're going a bit deep on here. I really don't think it any. I mean, I don't know. Did they? Was there a precursor to this going? Well, what do we know about prison children? Why do people go to prison? Why do people make such bad, pooey life choices? Like, I don't know. Mrs. Murray then made a comment herself on the post concerning the situation, backing down on the plan. She said, "Dear parents and carers, the aim of Prisoner Week Assembly was to help the children learn about the world beyond what they know so far and to remind them to make safe choices in their own lives. I can see from your comments that you feel sending a Christmas card is not appropriate, so we won't do that." It's just weird. It's just like, what? Why? What's it going to achieve? What the fuck? Like, did she think that people in jail were going to like it? Like, look, some might have been in jail for way too long, and then it gets a silly Christmas card from a kid and might read it and start crying and feel all wonderful inside. I don't know, but like, I just don't see this benefiting either side. Like, just one of the joys of being in prison, the only joys you can have, is that you don't have to interact with snotty-nosed kids anymore. You don't have to deal with children and their bullshit stories and their lack of awareness. You're free from all that. Then you're getting bombarded with their nonsense. Like, do me a favour, would you? Nat Fraser was in prison in 2003, is currently serving a life sentence after murdering his wife Arlene in Elgin, Moray, in 1998 after she disappeared without trace. I like the way the Mirror have just got to throw in like a famous prisoner there. It's just to hammer it home there. Some people go to jail are bad. In June of this year, 4 officers were attacked by a crazed inmate. This resulted in a 12-hour lockdown within the prison due to the violence. Another inmate in the same month attacked guards with pool balls in an attempt to spark a riot. That's a good way of doing it. And that's all they wrote. Well, there you go. I mean, this is definitely very misguided, if anything. But hey, if you want to write some letters, as a person that knows your own mind, you want to write some nice letters to some people in jail to give them a happy Christmas, go ahead, do it. But I do think, teaching that, it's valid. Some old people are very lonely at Christmas, and therefore that would have been a nice thing to do. That's the kind of primary school nice thing that you would hear about and go, that's nice. But when you're trying to, it's like some people are trying to be all edgy when they're a fucking primary school head teacher going, I'm gonna push the boundaries of people's perceptions. I'm gonna push some buttons here, see what happens, man. Yeah, you're not a fucking artist, you're a primary school teacher, alright? You need to calm the fuck down, okay? Alright? Okay? Alright? Just chill out a bit, would you?